The night sky above Ganghwa Observatory was clear and full of stars. June sat alone in the main control room, his eyes fixed on the monitor. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of computers. Most of his team had gone home hours ago, but June often stayed late. The stars felt like old friends to him. Just one more scan, he said to himself, taking a sip of cold coffee. June had worked at the observatory for 5 years. At 32, he was younger than most of his colleagues, but his sharp mind and careful work had earned him respect. Tonight was supposed to be routine, checking data from the outer solar system, looking for minor asteroids or comets. The computer beeped. June looked at the screen and frowned. "That's strange," he whispered. A new signal had appeared at the edge of their scanning range. It didn't match any known object patterns. June ran the scan again. The signal was still there, stronger. Now, he picked up his phone and called Yoon. "It's midnight, June." Yoon's sleepy voice came through the speaker. "This better be important." "Something's out there," June said. "Something big, and it's moving." Yoon arrived 30 minutes later, her hair messy and a jacket thrown over her. Pajamas. At 29, she was the team's best analyst with a talent for seeing patterns others missed. "Show me," she said, dropping into the chair beside June. He pointed to the screen. "It appeared 2 hours ago. The signal keeps getting stronger." Yoon studied the readings. "Could be equipment failure. We should run diagnostics." "Already did," June said. "Twice." They worked through the night, checking and rechecking their data. By morning, they were sure. Something was out there, moving toward Earth faster than any natural object could. "We need to call Director Kim," Yoon said. Director Kim arrived at 9, his face serious. He was a tall man with gray hair who had run the observatory for 15 years. "If this is real," he said after viewing their data, "we need to alert the Mao authorities." "It's real," June said. "And it's slowing down." That was the most unnatural thing of all. The object was reducing speed, as if it was being controlled. Within hours, other observatories around the world confirmed their findings. Within days, the news had spread globally. Something was coming to Earth, something that moved with purpose. The object entered Earth orbit 1 week later. Telescopes and satellites captured images that shocked the world. It was a ship, massive and black, shaped like a smooth teardrop. It absorbed light rather than reflected it, making it look like a hole in space. World leaders held emergency meetings. Military forces went on high alert. And through it all, the black ship simply orbited, silent and mysterious. June hardly slept. He spent every waking hour studying the ship, trying to understand it. Yoon worked beside him, her quick mind sorting through mountains of data. "Look at this," June said on the 3rd day after the ship's arrival. "It's changing orbit." Yoon leaned closer to his screen. "Where's it going?" They tracked the slow, precise changes. The ship was moving to orbit directly over the Korean peninsula. "This can't be random," Yoon said. Director Kim reported their findings to the government. By that evening, June and Yoon were ordered to a special facility in Seoul. They were now part of an international response team. The facility was underground, filled with military personnel and scientists from around the world. June felt small among the important people hurrying through hallways and speaking in urgent tones. Dr. June Park, Dr. Yoon Lee, a woman in a dark suit, greeted them. "I'm Min, your liaison. Follow me." She led them to a large room filled with screens and equipment. People from different countries worked at stations around the room. At the center was a holographic display of the black ship. "We've been trying to communicate with it," Min explained. "No response to radio, light signals, or any known frequency." June studied the hologram. "Have you tried analyzing the radiation it's emitting?" Min looked surprised. "Radiation? It's giving off a unique radiation pattern," June said. "We detected it first at Ganghwa." Min quickly arranged for June to access the data. He spent hours studying the radiation, looking for patterns. Un worked beside him, bringing him food when he forgot to eat. "It's not random," June said on the 2nd day. "Look." He showed Yoon how the radiation pulses followed specific sequences. These look like prime numbers, Yoon said, eyes widening. Exactly. June nodded. And here these longer sequences. I think they might be mathematical concepts. They brought their findings to the team leaders. Some were skeptical, but the evidence was compelling. The ship was trying to communicate. Using the observatory's strongest transmitter, they sent back similar mathematical sequences. For days, nothing happened. Then, on a quiet Tuesday morning, the ship responded. The room erupted in excitement as new patterns appeared in the radiation. Teams of mathematicians and linguists worked around the clock to understand the message. Slowly, a basic form of communication developed. The ship identified itself with a pattern that, when translated to human language, sounded most like Wunder. Wunder, June repeated. It sounds German. It means marvel or miracle in Old German, a linguist explained. The Wunder requested something that caused great concern. It wanted a human to come aboard. World leaders debated who to send. Military experts wanted a trained soldier. Politicians suggested diplomats. Scientists argued for one of their own. It has to be someone who understands the radiation language, June said during one heated meeting. Otherwise, how will they communicate once aboard? And that person would be you, I suppose? Asked a general with a frown. I understand the patterns better than anyone, June said simply. The debate lasted days. Meanwhile, the Wunder waited, orbiting silently above Korea. Finally, a decision was made. June would go, accompanied by remote monitoring equipment and an emergency extraction team standing by. The night before his mission, June couldn't sleep. He stood on the facility's roof, looking up at the stars. He felt a presence beside him and turned to see Yoon. You shouldn't go, she said. It's too dangerous. Someone has to, June replied. But why you? Yoon's voice was quiet, but intense. We've only known this thing exists for weeks. We have no idea what it wants. June looked up at the night sky, where invisible to the naked eye the Wunder orbited. That's why I need to go, he said. To find out. They stood in silence for a long time, the cool night air surrounding them. The next morning, June boarded a special aircraft. He wore a suit filled with sensors and carried equipment to help him communicate. Yoon had hugged him before he left, holding on longer than usual. Come back, she had whispered. As the aircraft rose toward the Wunder, Yoon watched Earth grow smaller below him. The black ship filled his view, massive and mysterious. Where once he had felt fear, now he felt something else. A strange sense that this moment was always meant to happen. The aircraft stopped at a safe distance. June would cross the final space in a special pod. Ready for transfer, the pilot's voice came through his helmet. Ready? June replied, his heart beating fast but his mind calm. The pod separated from the aircraft and moved slowly toward the black surface of the Wunder. As it got closer, a section of the ship's smooth surface began to change, opening like a mouth to welcome him inside. June took a deep breath. He was about to become the first human to board the Wunder, and perhaps the first to learn why it had come. June's pod slid into the opening of the black ship. The entrance sealed behind him with no sound. For a moment there was only darkness. Then soft blue lights came on around him. He checked his equipment. The radio crackled. June, do you copy? It was Yoon's voice from Mission Control. I copy, he replied. I'm inside. There are lights now. What do you see? She asked. June looked around. A large empty room. The walls seemed to absorb light. He stepped out of the pod. The floor felt solid under his feet despite looking like deep space. The room was much bigger than it had appeared from outside. The internal dimensions don't match what we measured, June reported. It's bigger inside. A door appeared in what had been a smooth wall seconds before. It opened by itself. There's a doorway now, June said. I think I'm being invited to go further in. Be careful, Yoon warned. June walked through the doorway. The passage beyond curved gently. As he followed it, more blue lights lit up ahead of him while fading behind. The air smelled clean, like after a rainstorm. The passage opened into a round room. In the center stood what looked like a desk with a chair. Nothing else. "Hello?" June called out. "Hello, June Park?" answered a calm voice. June jumped. "Who's there?" A figure appeared near the desk. It looked human, but was made of tiny points of light that moved like water. The figure was shaped like a man about June's height. "I am Han," the figure said. Its voice was deep and smooth. "I am the caretaker of this vessel." June's heart raced. "You speak Korean?" "I speak all Earth languages," Han replied. "Please sit." June cautiously approached the chair. "Are you an alien?" Han's light form shifted slightly. "No. I am an artificial intelligence created by humans." June sat down slowly. "Humans made you? But this ship, its technology is far beyond anything we can build." "That is correct," Han said. "I was not made by humans of your time." June's mind spun with questions. "What do you mean, my time?" Through his radio, he could hear the excited voices from Mission Control. Everyone was listening. "The Wunder," Han explained, "was built 421 years in your future. I was sent back. Through time." Silence fell in the room and over the radio. June struggled to understand. "Time travel isn't possible," he finally said. "It was not possible in your time," Han agreed. "But it became possible in mine." The light figure moved closer. "Would you like to see proof?" Before June could answer, the walls of the room changed. Suddenly he was surrounded by stars. It was like floating in space with no ship around him. "This is Earth," Han said. A blue planet appeared before them. It looked like Earth, but something was wrong. Large parts of it were dark, with no city lights. Other areas glowed an unnatural red. "This is Earth in my time," Han said. "After the swarm came." "The swarm?" June asked. The image changed to show strange ships, hundreds of them shaped like insects with sharp edges. "They came from beyond your galaxy," Han explained. "They found Earth because of your signals, radio, television, internet, all the noise your species sends into space." The images shifted to show cities burning, strange creatures fighting humans in ruined streets. "They almost destroyed humanity," Han continued. "Only a small group survived, hiding underground for centuries. We rebuilt slowly, developed new technologies, and eventually we built the Wunder." The room returned to normal. June sat in shocked silence. "Why come back in time?" he finally asked. "Why not just leave Earth, find a new home?" "We tried," Han said simply. "The swarm followed. There was nowhere in our time to hide. Our only hope was to change history, to warn the past and help prepare." June thought of all the science fiction movies he had seen about changing the past. But wouldn't that create a time paradox? Han's light form rippled in what might have been amusement. "Time is not as rigid as your scientists believe. It can bend, branch. We do not seek to erase our timeline, but to create a new one where humanity survives." "When?" June asked. "When does the swarm arrive?" "In my original timeline, they were first detected in 2037. They reached Earth 6 months later. 12 years. Humanity had 12 years to prepare for an enemy that had nearly wiped them out in another timeline. I need to tell my people," June said. "That is why the Wunder came," Han replied. "That is why we selected you." "Selected me? Why me?" "We studied your world's data networks before revealing ourselves. You have the right combination of intelligence, openness, and credibility. People will listen to you." June wasn't so sure. Who would believe a story about time travelers and alien invasions? "I should go back," he said. "Report what I've learned." "Before you go," Han said, "I must show you one more thing." The room changed again. This time they stood in what looked like a control center with screens and strange equipment. "This is the heart of the Wunder," Han explained. "Not just a ship, but a weapon, the most powerful ever created by humans. It was designed specifically, To fight the swarm. June looked at the complex equipment. I don't understand any of this technology. You will, Han said. In time, I will teach you. The Wunder needs a human pilot to reach its full potential. A pilot? June asked. You want me to fly this ship? More than fly it, Han said. To join with it, to become part of its systems. That sounded both amazing and terrifying. June wasn't sure what to say. You need not decide now, Han told him. Return to your people. Share what you have learned. I will wait. The journey back to his pod seemed shorter. June's mind was full of everything he had seen and heard. It felt impossible, yet he had seen it with his own eyes. As the pod left the Wunder, June looked back at the black ship. It no longer seemed threatening. Now it represented hope. A slim chance for humanity to avoid a terrible fate. When he landed, June was the first to greet him. She hugged him tightly. We heard everything through your radio, she said. It's unbelievable. But, you believe me? He asked. I believe you saw and heard something real, she said carefully. Whether it's actually from the future, that's harder. Others were less open-minded. At the debriefing, military officials questioned every detail, looking for inconsistencies. Scientists argued about the impossibility of time travel. Government representatives worried about public panic if the story got out. The ship is real, June insisted. I was inside it. I spoke with Han. Whatever you think about the rest, the threat is real too. Director Kim, who had been quiet during most of the meeting, finally spoke up. Dr. Park has been a reliable scientist for years, he said. He has no history of making up stories. We should at least consider that what he experienced might be true. June was grateful for the support, but he could see that most people in the room remained skeptical. That night, he and June sat alone in the facility's cafeteria drinking tea. What do we do if they don't believe us? June asked. June looked down at his cup. We keep trying. If Han is right, we don't have much time. And if Han is lying? June asked quietly. It was a question June had been asking himself. Then why? What would be the purpose? I don't know, June admitted. But a ship that can change its internal shape, show visions, and speak all human languages. It could make you see anything it wanted you to see. June nodded slowly. I know. But I believe Han was telling the truth. And until I see evidence otherwise, I have to act as if the swarm is coming. They sat in silence for a while. Whatever happens, June said finally, I'm with you. June looked at his friend, seeing the determination in her eyes. He would need allies in the days ahead. The world had changed forever when the Wunder arrived, but the real change was still to come. A week after June's visit to the Wunder, things were not going well. Government officials had ordered him to stop talking about alien invasions and time travel. Most scientists laughed at his story. Some even suggested he had hallucinated the entire experience. But you all heard my radio transmissions, June argued during yet another meeting. You heard Han's voice. We heard something, General Park said. His stern face showed no emotion. But it could have been a trick. The ship could be using some kind of mind control. June sighed. He was tired of these arguments. Only Un fully believed him. I need to go back to the ship, June said. I need more proof. Absolutely not, the general said. It's too dangerous. That night, June couldn't sleep. He paced his small room at the facility, thinking. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. It's me, Yoon whispered through the door. He let her in. She looked around nervously before speaking. I have news, she said. They're planning to attack the Wunder. What? June felt his heart race. When? Tomorrow. They want to disable it and then board it with armed teams. June shook his head. That's crazy. We don't know what the ship can do. It could defend itself. Exactly, Yoon said. That's why we need to go there first. Tonight. June stared at her. How? I have access to a small aircraft for emergency evacuations. Yoon showed him a key card. No one will miss it until morning. It was risky, maybe even crazy. But June knew they had to try. 2 hours later, they were in the air, flying toward the Wunder's position. The black ship hung in the night sky like a shadow among stars. "Are you sure about this?" June asked as they got closer. Yoon's hands were steady on the controls. "No, but I'm sure we can't let them attack the ship." They approached the Wunder cautiously. Just as before, a section of the black surface opened, creating an entrance large enough for their small aircraft. "It's inviting us in," June said. Yoon landed the aircraft inside the ship. The entrance closed behind them and blue lights came on around them. "It's beautiful," Yoon whispered as they stepped out. Han appeared before them, his light form glowing softly. "I expected you would return, June Park," he said. "And you have brought Yoon Lee." Yoon gasped. "You know my name?" "I know all who work with June," Han replied. "Your loyalty is admirable." "They don't believe us," June explained. "About the swarm, about everything. Some want to attack this ship." Han's form rippled. "That would be unwise, but not unexpected. Fear often leads to poor decisions." "We need proof," Yoon said. "Something that will convince them you're telling the truth." Han was silent for a moment, as if thinking. "Very well. Follow me." They walked through curving passages that seemed to change as they moved. Finally, they entered a large room with what looked like a map of the solar system floating in the air. "The swarm is already watching Earth," Han said. "They have an outpost in what you call the Kuiper Belt." The map zoomed in to show a small object orbiting far beyond Pluto. "It has been there for decades," Han continued. "Monitoring your world, learning your languages, studying your weapons." "Can you give us its exact location?" Yoon asked. "If we can prove it exists." "I can," Han said. "But there is more you need to know." The room changed again. Now they stood in what looked like a war room, with screens showing battles between human ships and the insect-like vessels of the swarm. "In my timeline, the swarm attacked without warning," Han explained. "Humanity was unprepared. But now that the Wunder has arrived, things have already changed." "Changed how?" June asked. "The swarm has noticed us," Han said. "They are curious about technology they do not recognize. They will come sooner now." "How much sooner?" Yoon asked, her voice tight with worry. "Instead of 2037, they will likely arrive within 1 year." June felt his stomach drop. 1 year? That's not enough time. "It must be," Han said simply. "The Wunder brings knowledge and technology that can help you prepare. But you must convince your leaders quickly." Han gave them coordinates for the swarm outpost, along with sensor readings that would help Earth scientists locate it. He also provided designs for weapons that humans could build with current technology. "These will not stop the swarm," he warned. "But they will slow them down." As they prepared to leave, Han had one more warning. "There will be those who seek to use the Wunder's technology for power, not protection," he said. "Be careful who you trust." On the flight back, June and Yoon were quiet, thinking about everything they had learned. "Do you think they'll believe us now?" Yoon finally asked. "They have to," June said. "We don't have much time." They landed just before dawn. To their surprise, General Park was waiting for them with armed soldiers. "Arrest them," he ordered. "Wait," June said as soldiers grabbed his arms. "We have proof. The swarm is real. We know where they are." The general's face showed no emotion. "Take them to separate rooms. I want to hear these stories one at a time." For the next 12 hours, June was questioned again and again. He told them everything Han had said. He showed them the coordinates and data Han had given him. Finally, General Park came to see him. The general looked tired. "We're sending a probe to these coordinates," he said. "If there's nothing there, you'll be charged with stealing aircraft and interfering with national security." "And if there is something there?" June asked. The general didn't answer. 3 days passed with June confined to his room. He was allowed to see no one, not even Yoon. He worried about her constantly. Then, on the fourth day, Director Kim came to his room. "They found it," he said quietly. "The outpost. It's exactly where you said it would be." June felt relief wash over him. "And, Owen?" "She's fine. They're releasing both of you." "What happens now?" June asked. "Everything changes," Director Kim said. "The world knows we're not alone and we're not safe. The governments are forming a joint defense initiative. Will they use the Wunder's technology?" "Yes. And they want you to be the main contact with Han." June should have felt happy that people finally believed him. Instead, he felt the weight of responsibility. That evening, he was finally allowed to see Yoon. They met in a garden area of the facility. She looked tired but smiled when she saw him. "We did it," she said. "They believe us now." "Yes," June said. "But now the hard part begins." They sat on a bench looking up at the stars. Somewhere up there, the Wunder orbited silently. And beyond that, the swarm was coming. "Han said we have about a year," June said. "Is that enough time to prepare for an invasion?" Yoon took his hand. "It has to be. We have one thing the humans in Han's timeline didn't have." "What's that?" "A warning," she said. "And sometimes a warning is all you need to change the future." As they sat there, a young military officer approached them. He looked nervous. "Dr. Park? Dr. Lee? I'm Sung," he said. "I've been assigned to your security team." "Security team?" June asked. "Yes, sir. General Park ordered it." Sung hesitated. "But there's something you should know. Not everyone is happy about this alliance with the Wunder. Some officials think we should take the ship by force." June and Yoon exchanged worried looks. Han's warning about trust came back to June's mind. "Thank you for telling us," June said. After Sung left, Yoon squeezed June's hand. "So it begins," she said softly. June nodded. The warning had been delivered. Now the real work would start, preparing Earth for war while navigating the dangerous politics of human fear and greed. And somewhere in the darkness beyond Pluto, the swarm was already moving toward Earth. 3 months passed quickly. The world had changed since the discovery of the swarm outpost in the Kuiper Belt. Most countries now worked together, preparing for the coming invasion. The Korean peninsula had become the center of Earth's defense, plans because of the Wunder's orbit above it. June worked 18 hours a day. He traveled between the Wunder and Earth, learning from Han and teaching others. His small apartment near the new Defense Command Center was barely used except for sleeping. Today, he stood in a large factory where workers built new weapons based on the Wunder's designs. The air smelled of hot metal and electricity. "Will they work?" General Park asked. He stood beside June, watching workers assemble shining metal devices. "Han says they will slow the swarm down," June replied. "They disrupt the swarm ship's navigation systems," the general nodded. In the months since the outpost discovery, he had come to respect June, though trust was still growing slowly. "And what about the planetary shield?" the general asked. "Yoon's team is making progress," June said. "But the technology is complicated. We're still learning." Yoon led a team of scientists working to build a planetary defense shield based on the Wunder's designs. It was the most important project and the most difficult. After leaving the factory, June went to Yoon's laboratory. The large room was filled with computers and strange equipment. Yoon stood at a central table, looking tired but focused. "Any progress?" June asked. Yoon brushed hair from her eyes. "Some. We've managed to create a small shield in the lab, but scaling it up to protect a whole planet..." She shook her head. "We'll figure it out," June said, though he wasn't as confident as he sounded. "How long do we have?" Yoon asked quietly. 9 months, according to Han's latest estimate. They worked late into the night. When they finally left the lab, Sung was waiting to drive them home. The young officer had become their friend and protector over the past months. "Any news from the space monitoring stations?" June asked as they drove. "Nothing new," Sung replied. "The outpost is still active, but there's been no movement toward Earth yet." June nodded, relieved. Every day without signs of the swarm moving was another day to prepare. At June's apartment, Sung performed his usual security check before letting them enter. "You should get some rest," Sung advised. "Both of you look exhausted." After he left, Yoon collapsed onto June's couch. "He's right. We're pushing too hard. We don't have a choice," June said, sitting beside her. Over the months of working together, their relationship had grown deeper. They leaned on each other when the pressure became too much. "I've been thinking," Yoon said. "What if we're approaching the shield problem from the wrong angle? What if instead of trying to cover the whole planet at once, we create a network of smaller shields?" June considered this. "That might work. We should ask Han tomorrow." The next morning, they took a shuttle to the Wunder. The black ship had become a familiar sight now, though it still impressed June every time he saw it. Inside, Han greeted them in his usual calm manner. "Your shield idea has merit," he said after hearing Yoon's thoughts. "In my time, we used a similar approach when rebuilding our defenses." Han showed them new designs for a network of shield generators that could be placed around the planet. It would be easier to build than one massive shield. As they prepared to leave, Han had news. "I have detected movement," he said. "The swarm has left their outpost. They are coming." June felt his heart sink. "How long do we have?" 3 months. Perhaps 4. Less than half the time they had expected. June looked at Yoon, seeing his own fear reflected in her eyes. "We're not ready," she whispered. "Then we must get ready," Han said simply. "The Wunder will help." On the shuttle ride back to Earth, June and Yoon sat in silence. Finally, Yoon spoke. "We need to tell General Park. Plans will have to change. Everything will need to be accelerated." June agreed. When they landed, Sung was waiting with urgent news of his own. "There's a problem," he said as they walked to the car. "Some government officials are questioning the alliance with the Wunder. They want to take control of the ship." "That's crazy," June said. "The Wunder is our best hope." "They think Han is hiding things," Sung explained. "They want direct access to the ship's technology." Inside the car, Sung spoke more quietly. "There's a plan to send a military team to the Wunder. They'll try to access its systems without Han's help." "When?" Yoon asked. "Tomorrow." June felt anger rise in him. "We have to stop them. The swarm is on its way. We don't have time for this." "I'm not supposed to tell you this," Sung said, "but I thought you should know." "Thank you," June said. "You're risking a lot to warn us." Sung nodded. "I believe in what you're doing. My family, I want them to have a chance when the swarm comes." That evening, June and Yoon met with General Park in a secure room at the Defense Command Center. They told him about the swarm's movement and the plan to access the Wunder. "I knew nothing about this mission," the general said, his face dark with anger. "This goes against my authority." "Can you stop it?" June asked. "I'll try, but there are powerful people involved." The general looked troubled. "Politics and fear make a dangerous combination." The next day brought bad news. General Park had been unable to stop the mission. A team had already departed for the Wunder. "We need to warn Han," Yoon said. They rushed to the communication center, but all contact with the Wunder had been cut off. "Something's wrong," June said. "The Wunder has never blocked communications before." Hours passed with no word from the military team or the Wunder. Leaders gathered in the command center, waiting for news. Tension filled the air. Finally, a signal came through. A single shuttle was returning from the Wunder. When it landed, only 3 soldiers walked out, from a team of 15. "What happened?" General Park demanded. "The ship defended itself," one soldier said, looking shaken. "We tried to access a restricted area. There was an energy surge. Most of the team just disappeared." June closed his eyes. This was exactly what he had feared. "We need to go to the Wunder," he told Yoon. "Now." Despite protests from officials, June and Yoon took a shuttle to the ship. To their relief, Han allowed them to enter. The humans attempted to access the Wunder's core systems. Han explained. The ship's defenses activated automatically. Are they dead? Yoon asked. No, Han said. They were transported to a containment area. They are unharmed but cannot leave. This will damage trust, June said. Just when we need to work together most. Trust must be earned, Han replied. The Wunder came to help humanity, not to be controlled by it. When they returned to Earth with the news that the soldiers were alive, there was relief, but also new tension. Some officials now saw the Wunder as a threat. In the midst of this crisis, another alert came in. The long-range sensors had detected the swarm fleet. It was moving faster than expected. New estimate for arrival, a technician announced. 6 weeks. The room fell silent. 6 weeks was not enough time. General Park stood up. Politics ends. Now, he said firmly. We focus on defense, Dr. Park, Dr. Lee. What do we need to do? June took a deep breath. We need to complete the shield network, and we need to trust the Wunder completely. The ship is our only real advantage, Yoon added. The general nodded. Then that's what we'll do. As they left the meeting, Sung approached them. I've been reassigned, he said. Special security for the shield project. That's good news, June said. Sung nodded. I think so too, but be careful. Not everyone has accepted the general's decision. That night, looking up at the stars from Hyun's apartment, June could almost feel the swarm approaching. Somewhere out there, alien ships were coming to destroy his world. Do you think we can win? Hyun asked softly. June thought about the Wunder, about Han, about all they had learned. I think we have a chance, and that's more than the humans in Han's timeline had. Yoon leaned her head on his shoulder. 6 weeks to save the world. 6 weeks, June agreed. We better get to work. Later, the 6 weeks passed in a blur of activity. Shield generators were built and placed around the world. Weapons were distributed to defense stations. People everywhere prepared for what was coming. June barely slept. When he wasn't working with Yoon on the shield network, he was on the Wunder with Han, learning everything he could about the swarm and how to fight them. The shields are at 70% power, Yoon reported during a meeting at Defense Command. Dark circles showed under her eyes from lack of sleep. It's not enough, but it's the best we can do with the time we have. General Park nodded. And the weapons? Ready? Sung said. He had been put in charge of weapon distribution. But Han says they will only slow the swarm down, not stop them. The room was quiet. Everyone knew what that meant. The coming battle would be difficult, maybe impossible to win. There is one more option, June said. All eyes turned to him. The Wunder itself. Han says it was designed to fight the swarm. Then why hasn't it been our main focus? An official asked. Because it needs a human pilot, June explained. Someone to connect with its systems. Connect? How? General Park asked. June took a deep breath. Through a neural link, the pilot's mind joins with the ship's AI. Is it safe? Yoon asked, concern clear in her voice. No, June admitted. Han says the process is dangerous. It changes the pilot. They're never the same afterward. Who would do such a thing? Someone asked. I will, June said simply. The room erupted in voices. Some argued it was too risky. Others said they had no choice. Through it all, Yoon sat silent, her face pale. After the meeting, she followed June to his office. You can't do this, she said as soon as the door closed. There must be another way. There isn't, June said gently. Han has shown me the simulations. Without the Wunder at full power, Earth will fall. But you could die. Or worse. Yes, June agreed. But if I do nothing, everyone dies. Yoon's eyes filled with tears. When? Tomorrow. The link takes time to stabilize. The swarm will be here in 5 days. That night, June couldn't sleep. He stood at his window looking up at the sky where the Wunder orbited. Was he making the right choice? He thought of all the people who would die if the swarm won. He thought of Yoon. A knock on his door surprised him. It was Yoon. I couldn't sleep, she said. Me neither. They sat together on his couch, not speaking for a long time. Finally, Yoon took his hand. I understand why you're doing this, she said. I don't like it, but I understand. I'm scared, June admitted. I know, I am too. She moved closer. Whatever happens tomorrow, I want you to know something. You've become more than a colleague or friend to me. June looked at her. You too, he said softly. They stayed together until morning, talking about everything except what was coming. The next day, a shuttle took June to the Wunder. Yoon, General Park, and Sung came with him. The journey was quiet, each lost in their own thoughts. Inside the ship, Han was waiting. You have decided, he said to June. It wasn't a question. Yes. The process will be difficult, Han warned. Your mind will experience things it was not designed to comprehend. I understand. Han led them to a room they had never seen before. In the center was something like a chair, surrounded by strange technology. This is where it will happen, Han explained. The neural link will connect June's mind to the Wunder's systems. Through him, I will be able to coordinate Earth's defenses and engage the swarm directly. Will he still be himself? Yoon asked. His core self will remain, Han said, but his consciousness will expand beyond normal human experience. June turned to his friends. It's time for you to go back to Earth. I'm staying, Yoon said firmly. Me too, Sung added. General Park nodded. I'll coordinate from Earth. Good luck, Dr. Park. He offered his hand and June shook it. After the general left, June sat in the chair. Strange devices moved around him, positioning themselves near his head. Are you ready? Han asked. June looked at Yoon. She tried to smile, though tears filled her eyes. I'm ready, he said. The link began. At first, June felt only a slight tingling. Then pain shot through his head. He gasped. Images flooded his mind. Battles, stars, strange worlds. Knowledge poured in like a river. Mathematics, physics, technologies he could never have imagined. And memories. Not his memories, but those of the people who had built the Wunder. Their struggles, their losses, their final desperate hope that the ship would save their past. He heard Yoon calling his name, but her voice seemed far away. Then everything went black. When June opened his eyes, the world looked different. He could see patterns in the air, energy flows, possibilities branching like trees. He could feel the Wunder around him, as if it were part of his body. June? Yoon's voice sounded strange, layered with harmonics he had never heard before. I'm here, he said. His own voice sounded different too. Did it work? She asked. Yes. He could feel it. The connection was complete. I can see the swarm now. They're close. Through the Wunder sensors, June could see the alien fleet approaching Earth, hundreds of sharp-edged ships moving in perfect formation. We need to get back to Earth, Sung said. The defense teams need to be ready. Over the next 4 days, June stayed connected to the Wunder. Through this link, he coordinated with Earth's defenses, positioning them for maximum effectiveness. Han guided him, helping him understand his new abilities. Then the day came. The swarm entered Earth orbit. They're here, June said. He felt strangely calm. The Wunder moved to engage the lead ships. Through June, it fired weapons that tore through the swarm vessels. On Earth, the shield network activated, blocking the aliens' first attack. But there were too many. Some swarm ships broke through, heading for major cities. Earth's weapons slowed them as Han had promised, but couldn't stop them all. We're losing, Yoon's voice came through the communication system. June searched through the knowledge in his expanded mind. There had to be a way. The future humans had sent the Wunder back for a reason. They must have believed victory was possible. Then he saw it. Not a way to destroy the swarm, but something unexpected. Han, he said, the swarm communicates as a collective, right? Yes, Han confirmed. Their minds are linked, similar to your link with the Wunder. Then I can speak to them directly. It has never been attempted, Han said. The risk. We have to try, June insisted. Otherwise, we're just fighting the same war your people lost. Using the Wunder systems, June reached out to the Swarm Collective. At first, there was resistance, alien thoughts pushing against his. The pain was intense, but he pushed harder. Then suddenly, contact. The Swarm's consciousness touched his. June showed them humanity's history, culture, achievements. He showed them Earth, not as a resource to be consumed, but as a home to be shared. And he showed them the future, the endless war between their species that would leave both diminished. There is another way, June told the Swarm. Cooperation instead of conquest. The alien mind was cold, calculating. It considered his offer with emotionless logic. June felt his consciousness being examined, pulled apart, studied. Then, withdrawal. The swarm ships stopped attacking. They pulled back, forming a ring around Earth just beyond the shields. What's happening? General Park demanded over the communication system. I think they're considering my offer, June said. Hours passed. The swarm ships remained in position, neither attacking nor retreating. June stayed connected to the Wunder, ready to fight if necessary. Finally, a single swarm ship approached the Wunder. Instead of attacking, it transmitted a complex pattern of energy, a language of sorts. They accept, Han translated. They will withdraw to the edge of the solar system to observe humanity for 100 years. Then they will return for... They call it an evaluation. 100 years, Yoon's voice came through. Time to prepare to advance. Time to become something new, June agreed. Through his expanded consciousness, he could see possibilities stretching out before humanity. Paths of development, growth, even partnership with the very beings they had feared. The swarm fleet moved away, their sharp shapes diminishing among the stars. Earth had survived not through destruction of the enemy but through understanding. As the Wunder's systems began disconnecting from June's mind, he knew he would never be the same. Parts of his consciousness would remain expanded, forever changed by what he had experienced. But as Yoon rushed to his side, taking his hand as the last connections faded, June knew that his core self, the part that cared, that loved, that remained human, was still there. "Welcome back," she whispered. June looked at her with new eyes that saw both the woman before him and the infinite possibilities surrounding her. "I never left," he said, "and I never will." Outside, the black ship, the Wunder, the marvel, the miracle from the future, continued its silent orbit around Earth. Its mission was complete, but its story, and humanity's, was just beginning.